Hello, hello, hello. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. As you guys probably know, the new arena mode is coming out in live service in just a couple of days on July 20th. So I thought this would be a fantastic time to make a quick little video, going over some of the tips and tricks that I've learned while the mode's been out in PvE, go over a new updated tier list, go over some of the augments that are strong they should be prioritizing, and briefly touch on some of the comps that you're going to want to be playing if you plan on climbing in the new arena mode. So jumping right into it, right off the bat, we have the new plant that Riot added for the arena game mode. That is the Power Flower. This is really similar to, I'm sure if you play Summoner's Rift, you know what the honey fruit does that goes along the river. This is pretty similar to that, except a little bit of a nuance. So the Power Flower has 3 HP, loses 1 HP every time someone hits it, just like a ward. And whenever you hit it, you're going to get a little bit of a heal, you're going to get a little bit of a shield, and it's going to take 20% off of all of your cooldowns, including your ultimate, which makes this incredibly strong. Early game, the healing and shielding is really hard to just brute force, so if you're trying to fight someone down and they're just hitting the plant, they're probably going to be healing more than the damage you're doing to them. So you want to make sure that you're denying this. Whenever a plant is up, you want to make sure you're getting it so the other team is not getting it. There is a new item that Riot added. This is the lethality starting item. It's called Guardian's Dirk. This is going to give you 25% increased plant effectiveness. So you're going to get 25% more healing, 25% more shielding, and it's going to bring the cooldown reduction up from 20% to 25%. So it's only going to take 4 plant hits to get a full 100% cooldown reset versus the original 5 hits. And one other benefit that this brings is when you hit a plant, you're going to get a 100 move speed buff for 3 seconds, which is really huge if you're trying to kite away from someone. Just hit the plant, break a little bit of distance, or even when you clear a plant, if you want to run to the other plant quickly, this is going to be a really huge item to buy if you're playing a champion that is able to get value from it. One small trick that you can do with the new plant is actually, right before it spawns, there's a short little animation that'll play. And if you run right onto where the plant is going to spawn, before it comes up, you actually will make it really hard for the enemy team to actually hit the plant. So as long as you just run right on top of it and you hit the plant there, the enemy team is going to be stuck attacking you, while you'll be healing and blocking more of their damage. Basically, the easy way of saying it is, you're going to be taking less damage than what you're going to be healing and shielding back, and you're going to get your cooldowns reset. And it's going to make winning the fight so much easier. One of the biggest things that I see a lot of the newer players getting wrong at the moment is they're not prioritizing the plant, and they're losing rounds that, by all metrics they should be winning. So one of the most important things, early game, the plants are insane. Late game, the plants are insane. Mid game, honestly they're less important, but the cooldown reduction that you get from it is so huge that you need to make sure that you're prioritizing it. That's the easiest way to say it. Next, we're going to go into the tier list. I did make a tier list video a little bit back. Since then, Riot has made some adjustments to the mode. There's been some balance changes on some champions, toning down their power a little bit, and there's also been MMR matchmaking that got implemented in the PvE. That was one of the best changes they honestly could have made, because it gave us a big opportunity to actually do some limit testing against higher rated players, and actually see what champs are actually good versus, other teams that are trying their best to win. And the general consensus that's come out of that is hyper-scaling ADCs and supports are incredibly strong. The support items and the support augments are they're insane. Let me just put it as that. I'll get to it a little bit later, but there's just so much shielding, so much healing, so much CC that they provide, and overall, if you're not picking a support, you're going to be having a really hard time against teams that are using these champions, doing the support builds, taking the right augments. You're probably not going to be winning those games, which is unfortunate. And the reason these hyper-scaling ADCs are so popular right now is there really isn't a lot of punishment for just losing the early rounds, and you're able to get to the point where you're 3 full items. Even if you lose every single round, you don't get a single kill, you will make it to at least 3 items and be able to hit a power spike that it's very easy to come back from. So, in general, ADC and support at the moment is seeming like if you want to win games, you're picking ADC and support. There are obviously other champs. If looking at the list, you have some pretty strong mages in there. You have some bruisers. You have a few slightly different champs that provide a lot of value. The biggest issue with a lot of these is they're much more augment dependent. In general, the ADCs and supports, they have a ton of options that even if they get relatively bad rolls, it's not going to be enough to slow them down. So, in general, in my personal opinion, if you want to be winning games, just pick a carry in the S tier category, pick a support in the S tier category, and enjoy the climb. Alright, let's go into the new augments a little bit. I'm sure if you've played Arena on the PvE, you already know what some of these do. And if you haven't, this will be very helpful. So jumping right into the ADC augments, we're going to go into the prismatic augments. In general, these are the 2 main augments that if you see it, you just take it. You're happy, you're on your way, you're taking a first. At the very least, you're top 2 and you don't really care. So, right off the bat, we've got Symphony of War. That just gives you Conquer and Lethal Tempo, exact same keystones that you have in the other modes. Both of these super helpful. You get a ton of damage, you get a ton of attack speed, you get the lethal tempo range once you stack it. Overall, really solid augment. On top of that, there's Tap Dancer. Tap Dancer, you're going to be getting a ton of movement speed, you're going to be infinitely scaling up your attack speed, and you're going to just be having you're going to be having a blast. It makes your ADC champions much more fun. One note on Tap Dancer is you do not have to stack this on champions. So that means you can just attack random blast plants around the map. You can attack the power flowers. On some of the PvE maps, you can kill Set, and every time you attack, you're just ramping up movement speed. You're getting more attack speed, and you're having a really good time. In general, these are the 2 augments that on ADC, if you get these, you're happy, you're taking it, you're enjoying the game. Going to the gold augments, the 3 main augments that I'd be focusing on. This is honestly in order of importance. Scoped weapons. 100 range on a ranged champion, it may not sound like a ton, but in general, with the way that the scaling works in Arena, you're going to be having roughly the same items, and if you're able to hit the enemies before they can hit you, and you can actually kite them using that extra 100 range, there's really nothing that they can do. So scoped weapons, incredibly strong. And it's even more strong just in the sense that if you're not versed like another ADC comp or another long range comp, you get to just start burning them so much sooner, and it cuts down their time that that they need to get to you before they're just dead. So overall, scoped weapons, if you see this, you take it. No questions asked, you don't even look at another augment. We also have lightning strikes. That's going to get you 3 AD per 10% attack speed. That may not seem very great, but with the way that Arena works, there's no attack speed cap. So most of the ADCs that you will be playing, you build a ton of attack speed. You're going to regularly be hitting 3.0 attack speed, even sometimes 4.0 attack speed, depending on how your rolls went and what kind of support you have. So in general, this is going to be giving you a ton of AD, and it's just a really solid augment to get. And then after that we have Thread the Needle. This is just a general all-around solid augment, 25% armor and armor pen and magic pen. You really can't go wrong. More damage, we're happy. After that, we get into the silver augments, and the silver ADC augments are insane. I honestly think a lot of these should be gold or even prismatic. They're so strong. Right off the bat, we have Typhoon. Typhoon is going to basically be a Runons for free. And one of the nice things that Typhoon has is it's actually better than Runons, because this has a much bigger range for the extra bolt that it shoots, and on top of that, it also will hit stealth champions. So let's say, for example, you're versus Shaco, and he throws us down a box, and then he deceives and starts running away. If you just attack that box before it goes stealth, you've already hit like Shaco while he's stealth like 3 times, and he's having a really bad time. He just lost half of his HP for nothing. And in general, Typhoon is just, you're going to be getting so much damage off. In general, a lot of the ADCs really like the on-hit items, and this just gives you a free extra hit of that on whoever the other person, or, you know, if they're playing like a Zyra, Teemo, Heimer, Shaco, so on and so forth. It's just incredibly strong. In general, you see Typhoon, you take it. No questions asked. Then we have Light 'em Up. Light 'em Up is just overall, you know, really strong augment. Every 4 attacks, you just get an extra attack that goes out and does a decent bit of magic damage on hit. And overall, just generally really good augment. We also have, in my opinion, the best augment in the game. Tank it or leave it. So if you have the option of going a crit build over something that uses Rage Blade, if you get this augment, you should be going crit. Because I could not tell you the amount of times I see someone take this, and, you know, they'll only have, you know, 20 or 40% crit, and they're blocking 7k damage in a single round. So overall, tank it or leave it is just an insane augment. Even on support, like even if you don't build crit, just taking this, the 20% base crit that it gives you, is you'll get a ton of value from it, and it'll feel really strong. And after that, we have Deft. Not much to say about Deft. 50% attack speed. You know, you attack faster, you do more damage, you're a happy camper. You know, all there is to it. Now let's go a little bit into the support augments. Now the support augments are arguably unfair. I think Riot is going to need to do some balance changes here, for sure. But let's jump right into it. So right off the bat, we have, in my opinion, the best support augment that you can get in the entire game. Spirit Link. This is essentially a Knight's Vow on steroids. You're going to be redirecting 40% of all the damage going to your partner, that's going to you. But also 40% of the healing that they're getting also goes to you. So you're essentially having a double effective Knight's Vow that also stacks with Knight's Vow, so you can get that on top of this as well, and just makes it just that much more insane. So overall, if you're playing a support and you get Spirit Link, it doesn't matter if you don't have that much healing. You know, you just build a redemption, you know, whatever it may be, and it will get incredible value. After that, we've got Circle of Death. Circle of Death, if you are a champion that has a lot of healing in your kit, even if you don't have that much healing, if you have, you know, Redemption, a Moonstone, so on and so forth, dealing back 40% of all the healing that you're doing to the enemies is insane. And let me tell you, the amount of healing that happens in Arena is it's unbelievable. So Circle of Death, really strong augment. Then we've got Windspeaker's Blessing. I think the main reason that Windspeaker's Blessing is as strong as it is because most of the carry champs typically aren't building very much resistances, and because of that, you know, when you only have, you know, 40 or 50 armor and MR, bringing that up to 150 armor and MR is just insane, and just makes you that much more durable, and it makes fights so much easier for you. So Windspeaker's Blessing, assuming you have some way of healing and shielding your partner, great augment. Then we have Feel the Burn. There's not a lot to say about Feel the Burn. You're basically getting 2 free exhausts and 2 free ignites that you don't have to target the enemies. You know, if you're just lost, you know, and they just dive onto you, you just throw up Feel the Burn. They're both dealing less damage, they're both slowed, they both have Ignite on them, so they're healing less. And overall, just really solid augment. Going into the gold augments. Willing Sacrifice. Willing Sacrifice is insane. Because in general, with a lot of the support builds that are popular at the moment, all the support items are giving you like 300 health here, 400 health there, and by end game you're a lot of the time sitting around, you know, 4k, 5k, sometimes even 6k health, and when this is giving your ally at 30% of whatever your health is at when they drop low, sometimes it's more than their full HP bar that they're getting in just a shield, and it is insane. I think Willing Sacrifice, if you get this, it's insane. I would always be taking Willing Sacrifice. After that, the next priority I would have Banner of Command. This is just a pretty general steroid. 15% health, 15% AD, AP, attack speed for 10 seconds, which 10 seconds might seem a little bit short, but in general, from what I've seen, a lot of the fights typically aren't lasting more than 10 seconds. Obviously, sometimes people drag it out, but if you time it at a good time, most fights you'll get the full value out of it. So overall, Willing Sacrifice, good. Banner of Command, good. Always be taking those on support. Going to the silver augments. Contract Killer. For whatever reason, Riot decided to buff this augment. I personally thought this was insane when it gave 10% increased damage. But Riot decided, maybe it needed some help. And you know, I like dealing more damage, so I'll always take it. So this is gonna just randomly pick one of the two enemies, and it's gonna mark them for taking 15% bonus damage, and they'll give an extra 350 gold when they die. And if you manage to get this on the first roll of augments, or even the second roll, that 15% damage is huge. And it'll pretty much, if you get this early, it'll pretty much guarantee that you're getting top 2. Because those early fights will be a breeze. After that, we've got First Aid Kit. You know, 20% heal and shield power. You know, you can't go wrong. You know. And then, just going back to the tier list a little bit. Yeah, you know, in general, the team comps that are good are going to come down to a lot of personal preference. In general, if you pick any of the champs, you know, in S tier, in A tier, you're going to be having a pretty good time. One thing that you could do, if you want to check out certain comps, is there's this website, blitz.gg. It actually provides statistics for arena duos, so you can see, you know, Vayne Taric on average is getting 1.68, and it's getting first place 60% of the time, top 2 80% of the time. So in general, you know, Taric and Vayne, those are quite good. You know, they're both S tier champs, both really strong. So in general, if you're ever curious about some comps you want to run, blitz.gg has an amazing site. You can look at a lot of different comps, or otherwise, if you want to look at the augments for arena, it also has, you know, the general pick rate of the augments, what champions are typically taking it. I personally don't love this that much, just because it might get better when it's on live, but for the PvE data at least, in general, you could see, you know, what's getting picked the most, what's getting picked the least, and, you know, just kind of play around with it. But overall, I think this is going to be a really useful site, and hopefully when this is on live, it's going to have good data. I'll provide a link to this in the description in case anyone wants to see it. And that's it. That's all I've got. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. I hope you're ready to hit Gladiator once this is on live. Alright, take it easy. Take care, guys.